This year has been a hell of a year so far for Star Citizen. With 4 major updates including 10 unique ships and vehicles, the implementation of persistence that broke everything until it was eventually fixed, the introduction of salvage, removable ship items, refactored cargo, soft death, player ship repair, weird gray cat racing, ship tractor beams and towing, brand new bugs, actual bugs, a tutorial that teaches you nearly 3% of the game mechanics, a totally revamped arena commander experience with a War Thunder mode tossed in, and many new missions that some people occasionally try more than once. Not to mention the first foray into the still slightly undercooked pyro system, the live testing of master modes changing how we fly, fight, and die, and the announcement that Squadron 42 is still going to be released at some point. But Star Citizen isn't quite ready to retract its claws from the screaming torso of 2023, which is why it's time for Star Citizen Alpha 322. Let's start out where every Star Citizen update starts, with one more trip to the character creator to morph together another space weirdo will always hide behind a helmet. While we still don't have a way to save our characters, ensuring that we always look a little different with each update, we do have a brand new set of lovely hair to adorn our ever-changing faces. Now you can take on some trendy high-detail cuts or let your luscious locks drape down to your shoulders to swing around with that classic conditioner commercial bounce. But try to avoid having too much melanin, because even though you can be black, you can't have black people's hair, unless you're Cat Williams. But much like Cat Williams has salvaged his career again and again over the years, we too can turn a mess of broken down debris into something beneficial with structural salvage. Now, rather than simply leaving stripped and skinned vestiges of ships floating around in the vacuum of space, we can transform that cold hard metal scrap into cold hard cash. Once you've scraped off all that sweet RMC, all you have to do is switch over to the fracturing device to engage the destructive power of waves that will cover the ship husk in a writhing cloud of mesmerizing sand until it suddenly shatters into several pieces. Then you can switch over to the disintegration mode to use static electricity to shock and shatter those ship chunks into a fine mist of what appears to be space bees that will swarm into your munching little mouth to be consumed. But having the ability to finally clean up the infinite void of space isn't the only new function our salvaging friends have gained. The Vulture and the Reclaimer now have hoppers that can store a shitload of salvage materials that you can turn into boxes of material at your leisure. So now your Vulture experience doesn't involve quite as much time getting close-up views of this highly detailed ladder. And if you can ignore the part where they turn the awesome Reclaimer claw into a giant wizard hand, you can take advantage of the ability to generate larger boxes of salvage materials to make the already limitless excitement of stacking boxes just a little bit more thrilling. But the elation of salvage-filled boxes isn't the only container-based joy you'll be feeling, because we now have the ability to buy and fill crates with anything you'd like. Just purchase one of several box sizes and plop one of them down in or around your ship to stuff it with guns, ammo, or just all the burritos you can find, and now it's ready for convenient transport and potential disappointment for anyone who decides to steal it. After hauling this variety of cubicle delights to and from the same stations and cities for so many years, get ready to have your expectations slightly exceeded with the introduction of derelict settlements. These small villages of garbage will visually prepare you for the wastes of pyro with mountains of random junk, untended bonfires, and dozens of huts without a door in sight. These serve as new mission points, as well as places you can trade your shit to people that have no visible means of making use of it. You can also climb one of the many perilous towers of rusted metal if you want to get an unhindered view of this grand vista. But this update isn't all about rusted heaps on the ground, because Drake has a brand new rusted heap for the sky. The third variant to that classic flying potato moves on from the unrealized gameplay of scanning to the unrealized gameplay of exploration with the all-new Drake Cutter Rambler. This version also cuts the cargo space down to a meager 2 SCU, but this time is to expand the crew compartment to the cushiest of levels, resulting in a repositioned shitter shower, an even cozier bed pod, the addition of a gun rack and spacesuit storage, a fold-out jump seat, and a comfortable metal stool you can use to watch this TV. It's not all about those cushy Drake amenities though. You also have these slightly different wingtips and a roof rack that's apparently filled with highly volatile fuel in a perfectly inconspicuous and totally safe location enemies won't shoot directly at. But it does let you have enough gas to haul ass across the universe and see everything there is to see that you've already seen. There is one thing you definitely haven't seen before though, because it's from the aliens. The random collection of letters and sounds called the Aopoa Santoki has appeared in hangars around the system and offers a new way to shoot things in a medium fighter. Once you've levitated up into the cockpit with this magical catapulting seat, you'll be ready to take off from your tiny toothpick legs and show off your Mad-Eye Moody eyeball engines, giving you maximum thrust in every direction. You'll be able to use that to have the sexiest amount of maneuverability while also swinging 4 blazing fast gimbaled size 3 laser repeaters and 8 size 2 missiles to bring low anything that is high while also laughing at them for being killed by a ridiculous looking insect ship. Weird looking ships aren't just for the sky though, because now you can hover your way into the future on another gravlev vehicle with the Origin X1. If you weren't satisfied with the Hover Quad, Nox, or Dragonfly to get you across surfaces in the most treacherous way possible, you now have one more sleek compact option for your terrestrial adventures. Whether you choose the standard variant, the weaponless velocity for racing, or the combat-ready force variant that swaps out the meager size 1 weapon for the power of a mighty size 1 weapon, you'll be ready to face any of the imaginary scenarios where ground vehicles are actually useful. This update also brings with it new additions to Arena Commander, like these new maps with ground features and near complete darkness, as well as finally bringing the fun of multi-crew to the mode only about 8 or 9 years after it was first announced. Star Citizen Alpha 322 may be the last update of 2023, but rather than being the death rattle of another year waiting for something good, it's the final flourish of noteworthy accomplishments and excitement building hope for the near future. For the first time in a long time, it doesn't seem like everything is perpetually 2 years away, even though the reality is the best stuff is probably still 2 years away. If you'd like to see more information about previous updates in an almost informative way, check out my other Star Citizen videos here.